Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on the time this video gets to you. My name is Johnson Paul and I'm your civic teacher. And today, the 5th day of November 2025, we are going to be looking at a very important topic to not just civic education students, but also to humanity. The topic is the 30 articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And we have some specific objectives outlined here. At the end of this lesson, we're expected to understand the following. Number one, the meaning of human rights. Number two, we are expected to have a brief history of the League of Nations. Number three, we are also expected to have a brief history of the United Nations Organization. And lastly, we're expected to know the 30 articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Now, straight up to the meaning of human rights. Now, what are human rights? Human rights are those inalienable and undeniable rights given to humans from birth. They are also called fundamental human rights. This means from birth, as soon as a child is conceived and birthed, the child is given these rights. They are called human rights, and these rights cannot be taken away from the child. So human rights are those inalienable and undeniable. They cannot be denied by anybody. We'll go to the second specific objectives. Brief history on the League of Nations. Now, we cannot talk about human rights without bringing the League of Nations into play. Now, you might have heard about the League of Nations. Today, I'm going to give you a brief history. The League of Nations was inaugurated immediately the First World War ended between 1914 to 1918. They were inaugurated for two major reasons. One, to ensure there is no other war, meaning to avert the Second World War that was looming. And two, to ensure that all human rights are enshrined into the Constitution. But they didn't live up to expectations. Hence, they were scrapped away. And then the United Nations organization was brought into play to take their place. The UNO succeeded in achieving what the League of Nations could not achieve. They succeeded in averting the Third World War and also succeeded in enshrining the 30 articles of human rights into the Constitution. When the United Nations organization began, they started with 48 states, and then those 48 states were called countries. And in there, they were able to gather support from these countries. Hence, they brought the articles into existence. The UNO signed the 30 articles into law on the 10th day of December 1948. The 30 articles of human rights were signed into law on the 10th day of December 1948 by the then United Nations Secretary General, a woman precisely, the wife of the then American President Eleanor Roosevelt. She succeeded in achieving that feat. And so today, every 10th of December is celebrated as World Human Rights Day, courtesy Eleanor Roosevelt and her team. And now, we are going to look at the 30 articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. These articles covers almost all spheres of human life. I also have to tell you before I delve into the 30 articles that today, as we speak, we have about 193 countries affiliated with the League of the United Nations organizations. Prior this time, like I said, when it all started in 1948, they had about 48 countries. But today, they have grown and there are 193 countries. So we are going to be looking at the 30 articles and their importance to humanity. So here we have the 30 articles of human rights before us. They are universally accepted everywhere. Everywhere you go, any country affiliated the UNO must observe this right. In fact, it is enshrined in their constitution. And when you go against this right, when you step on anybody's rights that has to do with the 30 articles, you will be penalized. So we go with the first right and the most important right of the UNO, right to life. When we say right to life, we are looking at rights. Everybody has a right to live. And there's a popular saying that goes thus: he who kills by the sword dies by the sword. Therefore, if you take anyone's life, the punishment is killing you or life imprisonment. Depends on the circumstances surrounding the event. So the first and most important right of the UNO is the right to life. And then we have the right to equality. As humans, we are all equal. No matter your status, we are all equal before the law. We have freedom from discrimination. Be you a man, be you a woman, you are not supposed to be discriminated against. Be you a Christian, a Muslim, you have that freedom to be discriminated against. Hence, we have freedom from discrimination. We have freedom from slavery. No one should be enslaved, no one should be battered, no one should be rejected. We are all human beings. Hence, we must enjoy our rights. Freedom from slavery. We have number 5, freedom from torture. Nobody should be subjected to torture. Nobody should be subjected to drilling. As human beings, we have our rights to be protected. Freedom from torture. We have the right to recognition as a person before the law. This means that when you go before the law, no matter your status, pedigree, how small you are, the law must accord you your due recognition. We have the right to equality before the law. Be you a president, be you a governor, whatever status you have acquired in the society, you have equal right with the smallest person of that society. They won't treat you, give you preferential treatment because you occupy a certain office. No. Before the law, we are all equal. We have the right to fair hearing. Whenever you go to the law court and you have a case there, you have the right to be listened to. Nobody should shut you up when it's your time to narrate what happened. You have the right to fair hearing. We have freedom from arbitrary detention. As we all know, legally, no one should be kept behind bars without being taken to the law court after 24 hours of arrest. So if that happens, it is called arbitrary detention, and it is tantamount to, the person is tantamount to be sued by a competent lawyer. So it's freedom from arbitrary detention. Right to fair trial and public hearing. You must be given that privilege to air out your view on what happened publicly. That's right to fair trial and public hearing. Right to presumption of innocency until proven guilty. Nobody is a thief until a lawyer says so, until a judge or magistrate says so. Nobody is a thief, no matter the act the person is caught doing. Nobody is a thief. Right to private and family life. You have the right to decide to stay on your own without showing off. You have the right to say, oh, I don't want anybody to know about my family. I want to live on my own without exposing my family, without making them vulnerable. You have that right. Right to freedom of movement. Of course, you have the right to move to wherever you want to, as long as you are not encroaching into another person's right to privacy. Your movement is restricted via another person's right to privacy. Right to safety. You are free from every hazardous occurrences in your environment. That means you are free from pollution. If somebody is burning something and it's affecting you, you have the right to protest and, if possible, sue the person if you don't come to an agreement with the person. Right to a nationality. You have the right to belong to a nation. Hence, everyone in the world belongs to a particular nation. A nation means a country. So you have the right to belong to a nation. Right to marriage and family. You have the right to get married. You have the right to choose not to get married. Hence, we have the Reverend Fathers who have chosen not to get married, and we have people who have chosen to get married and give birth to children. Right to own property. You have the right to own property anywhere in the world, as long as you have money to afford it and you are not stepping on anybody's rights. Number 18, freedom from thought, conscience, and religion. You have the right to choose your religion. You have the right to think whatever you want to think. You have the right to belong to the African traditional religion, the Islamic religion, and the Christian religion. Right to freedom of expression. You have the right to speak. But mind you, if you must criticize constructively. Right to vote and be voted for, which is called franchise, right to social security, right to work, right to rest and leisure, right to an adequate standard of living, right to education, right to participate in cultural life. You have the right to free and fair word. You have the right to a free and fair word, right to duties and responsibilities. And finally, the 30th article says no one can take away your human rights. So all your human rights are protected by the law, therefore, no one can take away your human rights. I guess you've learned something today, and I hope to hear from you via the questions and the answer session. Thank you.